It took us a while to pull up the anchor at Njari Island, as we had to anchor in 30 metres. We attempted to sail, but the wind died. It was only a short distance of 5 miles from Njari Island to Liapari Island. Located to the southeast of Vella Lavella Island is Liapari Island. During the war, the US Navy had built docking facilities at Liapari. There is a channel that was blasted out by the Marines during World War II that has a depth of 11 foot at high tide. After the war, an Australian couple, the Radfords, built a resort on the island. Then a boatworks was established on the island. These days, Noel and Rose Hudson own the 300-acre island. It has a 200-ton slipway and a 60-ton slipway. There is a machine shop, welding and woodworking shop, and engineering services.
This was the site of where a bridge was built to join up the two islands, but somebody came along and stole the wood that actually created the bridge. No more bridge. It looks like a fish trap over there. There's plans ahead for turning Liapari into a resort, and this is going to be the site of restaurants and shops, and they're going to turn this into, well, it is a marina already, but a bigger marina. It's a really sheltered spot with double reefs to get through here, so it's a good cyclone hole. And the other day I think we had something like 50 knots of winds, and we had no problems being anchored there. It's a beautiful spot. We've just been for a bit of a walk around the island. It's really nice. There's a lot of swearing coming from down here, so I'm just going to go and have a look and see what the problem seems to be.
So this isn't a very nice job. So what I've had to do is rebuild both of these toilets. Now they're vacuum toilets, like you get in aircraft, where it goes whoosh. And I've basically had to replace all the parts in it. And so the way it works is a vacuum in a system pulls all the air out of the plumbing, and then the pump finishes the job by pumping the sewage into the holding tank or out through the through holes. What I've had to replace is the half dome here, the spring in there, so when you press the pedal, this activates the spring, and there's a water valve there, and this dome opens and then it seals again when you let the pedal go with the spring, and then all the contents go through there and the vacuum just moves everything out. So like anything on boats, it's bloody difficult to reach anything. Everything's hard to get at. So yes, I've been using a bit of bad language.
And the temperature is rather extreme.
And it's very, very hot here.
The humidity is very high.
So it's a very hot place, a very hot workplace this is. It's not been a good job. So someone said to me the other day, I said, oh yeah, that's an easy job, it only takes 20 minutes. So no, 20 minutes usually takes about 3 hours because everything was difficult to get at. But, oh well, we're in a good place to do it, and hopefully we'll get it fixed soon. 2 working toilets again. So we had a problem with our Morse cable, the control cable on the starboard side. So what's happened is we were going along, we were leaving Rendover Island and travelling up north, and it just snapped off. 1 minute I'm going along and I've pressed the control forward and nothing. So what we've done, we've got another Morse cable from Australia. It's 26 foot long, and we have to fit that. So we have to fit it at the control, and then it threads through some conduit through the boat and goes through across to the starboard side, and it gets fitted onto the engine side. So that's one job to do.
Cold water stove.
That's it.
Yeah, right for you.
Right, yeah.
$65.
Yep. So this is our cables and filters that we've been waiting for. That's great.
So we've just received our package from DHL for the control cables and fuel filters. So it's taken just over a week, which isn't too bad because, I mean, at the moment a lot of the freight's been cancelled because of the coronavirus. There's been very few freights, but they are running more or less every week, and if you're lucky you get it on one of the planes that's coming over, so we've been lucky. Yeah, so these are the 20 micron filters for the Raycor filters. We had none left. We had none left because we've got dirty fuel, so we need to keep changing these regularly until we can get back to Australia and polish the fuel. That's one thing. And the other thing we have is the 2 control cables. So these are I think they're the 7.5 metre cables that go in the port side. So there's one there to replace the jury rigged control cable we put in, and then there's a spare in case the gear cable goes. So there we are. So this is the control cable that broke, which snapped off, and there you can see it's just snapped off there. It snapped off on the helmet at the helm station, this one. Quite often they snap off where it's fitted onto the engine, but this one has just come off at the helm station, which was the same as the other one. And there's the cable that goes through. So the way these work, if you don't know how Morse cables work, what happens is on your engine, the outside of the cable is secured to the engine with a clamp, and on the other side, on the other end at the helm station, it's the same thing. It's secured into the lever, and then this wire works through inside the Morse cable itself. Push pull like that, to either work the controls or to work the gear, whichever it might be. And I don't know how odd it is. I mean, it could be the age of the boat, which is 20 years. They might have been on that length of time. I don't know. But I mean, I think the manuals they do recommend you replace them every 5 years or so. But who knows? When we thought there'd be no flights with freight into the country in the Solomons, what we did, we found out at Liapari if there was any Morse cables, any spares that Noel's had, and he had 2. And this was the longer one, which was a bit better. So it's much too long for what we wanted, but what we've done is gone round the engine bay, basically all the way around this engine bay. Gone round twice. Normally it would just go straight onto the engine and it'd be the right length, but because it wasn't, that's what we've done, and it still works. We've been using it for the last few days and it still works. So that's just one of the things you can do when when you haven't got the right size. You can, as long as the radius, the bend of the radius is okay, it's and not tight. It's quite nice wide radius there. It works okay. It's 26 foot long, so you need about 3 of you to fix it. One at the helm station, pulling it through, and one down at the on the engine side, pushing it through, and usually someone in the middle who's conveying the messages, so you can't hear what the other person's saying or doing. So it needs 3 of you as a team to work to try and get this cable through. And we also ordered a female connector which fits on the thread of one to the other, so we have to use the old cable and put the female connector on and pull the new one through on that after we fixed it. Yeah, so that's the other end there which fits onto the engine block. We'll show you later when I've fixed it up. So we got a bit of a shock when all of a sudden we're going along and I pushed the engine control forward and we got nothing. It was just, it had snapped off near the helm, the wire. That little clip goes in there. So this port side engine was getting harder and harder to start.
Yeah.
And this is the starter motor. And if you look at that when you take the cap off,
Yep.
that's just all carbon build up there. No wonder it's getting harder to start.
Yep.
See all that carbon, it's just falling off here. And that's why it's just getting harder and harder to start every day. So, and the starter motor's probably been on there for 10 years, I'd say, because it was very difficult to get the 2 mounting bolts off. But I think as soon as we clean this up, then we'll get it'll be working much better, I think.
Yep.
no problems with starting it anymore. So we have another 2 crocodiles caught. That's a small one there. This was caught last night, and they were both near the shoreline, near the boats this time.
Noel's doing open heart surgery over there.
Open heart surgery.
Yeah. And he's going to resuscitate the crocodile once he's done that and fixed its heart after a very stressful night.
And you'll see the croc on its feet again.
Yes, that's right.
And same Roy, got the other one.
Sure.
Dentist.
You won't.
Yeah, I took a few, just in case. If you want another one, let me know.
No, that's okay.
I think he's smiling.
I was going to get one up. Can you do that as well, Janice?
These teeth are bloody sharp, you know.
He's got a few chipped ones, hasn't he?
Yeah, they don't have very good dentists here in the Solomon Islands.
Look at that, like fatty tongue thing.
Yeah.
Is it as wide as it can go? No, they can. Fascinating, eh?
Crocodile pizza. Crocodile.
I'm not good at tasting things I don't know.
You can mix it with some.
And what's it taste like?
Soda, no? Or is it- You drink it.
This is my second pizza.
You're right about lobster.
Second this.
It's sort of chicken lobster.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
That was a sterling effort. Thank you very much.
So that's the croc skin that's drying out at the moment. It's been salted, so you can only see the inside of the skin. It's going to take a few months, I think, until it's ready. And the head's already been buried. They're going to dig that up in a year's time.
Join us next time as we return to Gizo to take a look at the story of President John Kennedy when he and his crew were rammed and sunk by a Japanese destroyer. Then we sail onto one of our favourite spots in the Solomon Islands.